Anne Lovett accouche seule, à l'âge de 15 ans, aux alentours de l'église Saint-Mary's Church. Elle et son nouveau-né sont retrouvés morts. Savita Alapavanar, 31 ans, se rend à l'hôpital souffrante. La fausse couche est inévitable selon les médecins, mais le cœur du fœtus n'a pas encore cessé. L'interruption volontaire de grossesse, IVG, n'est pas effectuée par le corps médical car la mise en danger de sa vie n'est pas prouvée. Elle décède d'une septicémie. X, 18 ans, apprend qu'elle est enceinte après avoir été violée. La jeune femme a des tendances suicidaires, mais l'IVG lui est refusée. Elle est forcée d'accoucher par césarienne.
For some, it's been an arduous 35-year journey. Others weren't even born when the Eighth Amendment was introduced. But today, they spoke with one voice.
Under the Eighth Amendment, we said to women in crisis, take the boat or take the plane. Today we say, take our hand.
Votes in favour of the proposal, 1,429,981.
I want to reassure you that Ireland today is the same country as it was last week, but just a little bit more tolerant, more open and more respectful.
This constitutional change will now have to be followed with legislation and already moves are afoot to make this happen swiftly.
C'est ce 4e référendum qui abroge le 8e amendement de la Constitution. Il rendait quasiment impossible toute forme d'avortement. La loi, garantissant l'IVG jusqu'à 12 semaines de grossesse, entre en vigueur quelques mois plus tard, le 1er janvier 2019. « 1983. Le 8e amendement protégeant le droit à la vie du fœtus est ajouté à la Constitution irlandaise. 1992. La Constitution accorde finalement le recours à l'IVG pour les femmes dont la vie est menacée. 1995. La loi sur la réglementation des informations, qui dispose qu'il est interdit d'encourager et de promouvoir l'avortement, entre en vigueur. 2013. Suite à la condamnation de l'Irlande par la Cour européenne des droits de l'homme en 2010 et la mort de Savita Alapavanar en 2012, est votée la loi sur la protection de la vie pendant la grossesse. Il est désormais possible d'avoir recours à l'IVG si la vie de la mère est en danger, mais aussi si celle-ci a des intentions suicidaires. Elle semble d'apparence assouplir l'interdiction de l'avortement, mais elle s'accompagne d'un flou juridique et donc ne mène pas à de grandes avancées. 2016. L'Irlande est condamnée à 2 reprises par l'Organisation des Nations Unies. En février, c'est le Comité contre la torture qui dénonce le non-respect du droit des femmes et, en juin, c'est le Comité des droits de l'homme qui demande à l'Irlande de modifier sa loi en matière d'avortement, jugeant qu'elle soumet les femmes à un traitement cruel, inhumain et dégradant. Jusqu'en 2018, les femmes ou professionnels de santé, ou toute personne venant en aide au recours à un IVG illégal, encouraient jusqu'à 14 ans de prison. Selon un rapport d'Amnesty International en 2015, c'est 4000 femmes qui quittaient le territoire irlandais chaque année pour aller avorter à l'étranger.
We're having to take a boat to Britain to actually make the point that women in this country do not have the freedom to control our reproductive processes.
Finalement, suite à la légalisation de l'avortement en 2018, qu'en est-il aujourd'hui ?
Well, I'm not Irish, I have to say. I'm German. Okay. But the only thing I can imagine is that it's a very Catholic country. It's a good question.
Le moral un peu dans les chaussettes, après de nombreuses tentatives de contact non abouties, je rencontre Jennifer à un arrêt de bus entre Cork et Kenmare. On échange comme lors d'une première rencontre sur nos vies respectives, puis l'on en vient à aborder mon sujet. Je lui pose des questions sur la religion, l'avortement. À ce moment-là, je suis fière de moi, j'ai échangé en anglais et appris de nombreuses choses, mais j'ai pas osé sortir ma caméra. Enfin, je crois qu'elle aurait été trop dans cet échange pour garder son naturel et son authenticité. C'est donc, en descendant du bus, que j'ai pris mon dictaphone pour garder une trace à chaud dans ma mémoire. Elle m'a dit qu'en fait, c'est ces différents scandales qui ont fait aussi que les gens se sont désolidarisés de l'Église. Elle m'a même donné un nom à Tuam, ils ont retrouvé plein d'enfants morts dans une fosse. Parmi les nombreuses informations que Jennifer m'a données, c'est le nom de Tuam qui a résonné dans mon esprit. Cet orphelinat, cette fosse commune, faut que je fasse des recherches. Je découvre ensuite que c'est en 1998 qu'a fermé la dernière Mother and Baby Home en Irlande. Les Mother and Baby Home, ou orphelinats catholiques, étaient des lieux où les femmes non mariées étaient forcées d'abandonner leurs enfants. Et c'est dans ces maisons d'accueil, pour faute de négligence et de maltraitance, que sont décédés de nombreux enfants. Tuam est une ville du comté de Galway. En 2014, y ont été retrouvés près de 800 cadavres d'enfants. J'ai décidé qu'il fallait que je voie cela de mes propres yeux. Lorsque j'arrive dans le village, j'ai peur de faire tâche avec mon gros sac à dos, me dirigeant vers le cimetière. Je me retrouve face à ce mémorial, je ressens une ambiance pesante, comme si les histoires de tous ces enfants flottaient dans l'air. J'ai d'ailleurs eu du mal à le trouver, il n'était pas indiqué. Avant de partir, je savais que je voulais échanger avec un prêtre. À Galway, je découvre que l'église a un bureau d'accueil, une church office. Je rentre, je leur demande si je peux rencontrer un prêtre. On me répond que oui, sans problème, qu'il faut simplement que j'aille le voir après la messe le lendemain. Je vais donc à la première messe, mais je me dégonfle, j'ose plus. Et quand le courage repointe le bout de son nez, le prêtre est déjà parti. Mais coup de bol, c'est l'Assomption. À l'issue de la seconde messe, j'échange donc avec frère Anthony. Y a-t-il toujours beaucoup de monde qui va à l'église régulièrement aujourd'hui en Irlande?
Yeah, it depends where. Some places in the countryside, you get a lot of pupils going, but in the cities, very rare. Different family occasions.
Okay.
That is it. In the countryside is much better. The communities are knit together, and they tend to worship together. The weekdays, you'll get predominantly older people. But like today now, the Feast of the Assumption, you get a mixture. Now the churches are a problem because there are few priests, and the timing of celebrations is going to be a difficult thing facing the future.
An Irish woman that I met yesterday told me about some scandals about a church like the one of Tuam and some sexual abuse. À ce moment-là, j'ajoute dans un anglais vraiment moyen, dont je vais vous épargner les oreilles, que c'est ces différents scandales qui, selon elle, ont poussé de nombreux Irlandais à se détacher de l'Église.
So what do you think about that? I don't think the scandals are the excuse, you know. Maybe some people use the scandals as abuse, but in Ireland, they say in those days, the convents or the hospitals looked after the children that were not wanted, and there was a lot of poverty in that time, and the government failed, and then the blame is put on to religious, and it's exaggerated in some ways, I think, and I think by their nature, most of the sisters, I would imagine, would have been very caring, because that was the nature, and children died because when they came to the hospital they were undernourished, and they died, and then they provided graves for them. Okay, it happened, we acknowledge that, but you know, a few people will elaborate more and will get a bit excited about the whole thing.
Why there is a huge gap between LGBT rights and abortion in Ireland, whereas the church is not agree with the two?
Yeah, I think it's there are two different issues, of course, here, and the first issue is people, you say, voting on the abortion. Again, how much do people understand? You know, I think this is the question. The whole idea is to protect life from its moment of conception to its moment of death. A kind of society that promotes abortion is going to be very hurtful and painful, and it's denying a child of a right to grow. The issue at the moment is that people need an education. People need to be form their minds and opinions. You know, and the medical side, you know, say in the past, the decision was made with medical people. Say, look, they, you know, some of them made wise decisions. Say, look, the mother is going to die. There's always a moral issue. You know, who do you preserve? What do you preserve? You know. And I think the right judgment is to be, first of all, to be a caring society.
The church prohibits all type of abortion. If the mother is in danger, it's not possible to abort, or it's possible for the church values.
Yeah, in the medical world, they would say if the mother is in danger of her life, that the child has every right to live as a human being, and to kill the human being in the womb is going to be a tragedy. I've myself experienced people coming to me over the time that they have regretted it. It was down to knowing and the education, but it was on the spur of the moment that the decision was made. It was a situation where the child was conceived because maybe at some social event or something, really control of their senses. They're still responsible. I think very often maybe under the influence of alcohol or whatever, or maybe they're too young. It's very important for, say, the future of a child to be protected and loved.
C'est en quittant Gaulois que je suis passée à Tuam, et que le soir, j'ai atterri par hasard à Sligo, dans une petite auberge tenue par Patrick. C'est ici que j'ai rencontré Anna, une Irlandaise de 25 ans ici pour ses rattrapages. Le feeling étant super bien passé, je lui ai proposé d'être l'une des protagonistes de mon documentaire.
So hi, my name is Anna Furla. I'm 25. I am from Wexford in Ireland, and I've come to Sligo for my exams.
What is the place of religion in Ireland in your life or in your friend's life, for instance?
Well, most people in Ireland would go to their local parish, which is their local community, say church. But then the main place of worship in my family would have been up at my granny's home place, her homestead, and that would have been in Carlow, and that's her parish church.
New generation go less in church than your grandma, for instance.
Yeah. So my grandmother, she would go to mass every Sunday. And even more than that if she could. And my other grandmother was the same. So much so, my other granny was so religious that even when she was in a wheelchair, we'd have to find a way to put her into the car and bring her every Sunday, because even though she was in pain, she still wanted to go to mass. But then when she died, then, like, even her children, like, there's only a couple now of my aunties that are still very religious and still would go to mass religiously. But the rest of them then wouldn't really go. Like, my mother wouldn't go to mass that much, hardly ever, and then I'd never go.
A girl that I met in Kenma told me about the fact that some people have stopped to go to the church because of different scandals, like the one of Tuam. I don't know if you have heard about it.
Yeah.
And what do you think of it?
I think it's scandalous. Like, the nuns, there was Magdalene laundries, if you've heard of those. That was when the girls, say my mother's generation, like as recent as that, they would get pregnant without being married. And in Ireland, like, that was a big, like, oh no, like, you're against Jesus if you're not married. What they would do is, these places called Magdalene laundries, they would bring the women into, the families would kick them out and hide them in the laundries with the nuns. And the nuns, they would abuse the girls, abuse the children, take the children then off the girls and adopt them to people in America and sell them. They weren't supposed to sell them, but it was illegal. But, like, they were saying they were adopting them, but they were selling the children to Americans for a big amount of money. And then with Tuam, some of the babies that were left behind in there that weren't adopted, they would be killed, or they just died of natural causes, or starvation. They were starved and then thrown into a septic tank. So that's why a lot of Irish people don't have time for mass or nuns or anything anymore, because they're like, no.
Et peux-tu me parler du climat qu'il y avait en 2018 lors de la légalisation de l'avortement en Irlande?
Like, my auntie, she's one of the few remaining religious aunties on my mum. She was saying to me, I think it's ridiculous. Like, she was like not for it at all. Like, there was a lot of older people like no, and then a lot of younger people yes, and then there was people in the middle. There was a big debate at the time, and my auntie was like, no, and I was saying to her, but what if you were raped and you didn't want to have the child? And she was like, yeah, but you should still have the child. And I was like, no. Like, there was a big argument at the time, and then when it was passed, a lot of older people weren't happy. Younger people didn't really mind. My family would be fairly quiet that way. Like, they wouldn't be great for protesting or anything like that.
Okay.
I voted yes, like, definitely, because like there's so many things like that, like circumstances. It's not just a one night stand that you get pregnant, and you know, like, look at the Magdalene laundries, like how terrible that was. Like, just because girls got pregnant, if they could have had abortions back then, they could have had it, and to prevent things, not just that they couldn't have the baby, but prevent like not being able to support the baby, not being able to go back to family and stuff like that happening. You know?
Today, the repeal in Ireland is something which is well accepted. It's still seen as shameful.
Like, you know, in America, the law is if your child has Down syndrome, you can choose to have an abortion. Like, I know in Ireland that's not the law, but like if there's medical complications, that's the only reason you're able to get the abortion in Ireland.
Il me semblait à ce moment-là avoir lu le contraire, je l'ai dit à Anna. Nous étions donc toutes les deux un peu dans l'incertitude sur le moment. L'avortement a été légalisé en Irlande sans condition jusqu'à 12 semaines de grossesse. En France, à titre de comparaison, c'est jusqu'à 14 semaines de grossesse pour l'IVG instrumentale. Après ces 12 semaines, il est possible de recourir à l'avortement à des conditions très strictes. La mise en danger de la vie de la mère, le grave risque pour sa santé ou la certitude de la mort du fœtus dans les 28 jours suivant la naissance.
Like, I've never heard that many people saying, yeah, I'm going for an abortion. Like, it's been accepted. Like, people say, oh yeah, now, like my auntie will say, yeah, it's legal now, she won't give out about it anymore. Even though she doesn't agree with it, it wouldn't be openly discussed.
You know where to go to get an abortion, or you don't?
I wouldn't know. I would go to my doctor, my general practitioner, and I would go and see what I could do. There's a helicopter. I would go to him and I would ask him where to go, but other than that, I would have not one clue where to go for an abortion. We have the HSE, and I think they might have citizens' information. But as far as I'm aware, now I'm not too good on this topic, I don't have much knowledge, but as far as I'm aware, I don't think we have family planning. I don't know.
Entre mes deux couchsurfing dans le Donegal, je me suis retrouvée, par hasard, devant un centre pour femmes, Women's Center. Ça m'a fortement intriguée. Alors, moi et Michel, mon sac à dos, on est entrés et on a été extrêmement bien reçus. J'ai donc pu échanger avec une volontaire.
Can you explain me where we are and what is it possible to ask you in a women's center, for instance?
We are the Donegal Women's Centre in Letterkenny. We're here to support women, and we would run a clinic here on a Monday evening for young women. That's a free service where we would have GP and a nurse and a counselling service for our young women from the age of 17 to 25 up to 26. That would be around all of their health issues and their sexual health and that as well. And we will give information and support. We also run a well woman clinic for ladies that are over 25, and we do a smear clinic. We would have female doctors and nurses, and it'd be all female run. We offer a listening support service. Anyone was feeling overwhelmed or just needed to speak to someone, and that too is a free service. Then we offer counselling service. That can be for any issue. We have designated domestic violence service support and information. That's the services, but we have an open door policy where people would come like yourself, and we would signpost them if we can.
So it's like a family planning center, but just for women, that's it? Or
just family planning, and we also have the crisis pregnancy counsellor here. But yes, it would be mainly for women. That's safe space for women. They can come in and feel safe. It's totally accepting of all and not non-judgmental in any way.
Et les femmes savent-elles que ce centre existe?
We do our best, Madeline, we do our best. Like, we would have a very good website. We're on social media, and the crisis pregnancy counsellor is here. We get calls from people that find themselves in a situation where they want, you know, to explore their choices, or they found out that they are pregnant and they want to avail of services, and we would inform them that we have a crisis pregnancy counsellor here. It's a free service, and they can either book it through the My Options or the Irish Family Planning Association, and Kate, our counsellor, will talk them through and guide them through and support them at that time and afterwards. But all we can do is do our best, and it just depends how popular and how much it's shared. We try our best, but we just hope.
To you, is something which is seen as harmful to abort for women in Ireland, or it's something which is well accepted?
We're not there yet. It's not well accepted. We can only go, I suppose, it's the woman's choice. We are all pro-choice here, and it's just different places and different communities, and I don't know if we're just that it's okay and that we're fully comfortable. It's still very new here. We have a way to go. We don't see it as shameful, we see it as a woman's choice. It's her situation, her body, her choice, her future, her decision. You know, every situation is different. When a woman comes in here, that she feels welcomed, supported, not judged, accepted, understood, and we will inform her, give her all her options, her choices, and as I said, support her at that point, during it, and after it. So as far as the centre goes, yes. As far as outside in society, no, we're not there yet. That's society's work.
Avant de terminer mon voyage à Cork, lieu où il a aussi commencé, j'ai interviewé un médecin traitant à Dublin. La rencontre n'était pas propice à une interview filmée, mais il m'a apporté de nombreux éléments importants. Une femme qui veut avoir recours à l'avortement en Irlande doit passer par une période appelée les 3 jours de réflexion, avec un rendez-vous en amont et un rendez-vous après. Selon lui, c'est une manière de garder un contrôle sur le corps des femmes. En 2020, est sorti un rapport portant sur le nombre d'avortements effectués depuis 2018. Des chiffres qui ont logiquement augmenté de par la légalisation. Le mouvement pro-life a qualifié cela d'épidémie et des rassemblements ont lieu dans la capitale. Il y en a encore de temps en temps. D'ailleurs, toutes les maternités et médecins pratiquant l'avortement sont recensés sur une liste. Mais celle-ci n'est pas publique, afin d'éviter les rassemblements pro-life devant les centres médicaux.